Hi everyone, and welcome to my interpretation of RPG A Day 2021, wherein I talk or give a few thoughts about a prompt word on this calendar that we have to use, developed by the people who, for the 8th year, have done this project. Originally I intended it to be like one take, but things are malleable. I've added recaps, I've added callbacks, so here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the GMologist Presents. This first segment is going to be an afterboxing. I should have waited to do the tearing and the ripping of the packaging, but I didn't because I was so excited. All of you, if you listen and play in my games, I'm a big Harn World fan, and we can debate whether Harn Master is the best game for that. But Columbia Games recently did a Kickstarter so they could have the money to print a hardcover of the Kingdom of Caldor. And I know people also say that Columbia Games is a little pricey, but this book is beautiful. It's 130 pages, 60 pages on the Kingdom of Caldor, and 70 pages on the city of Tashal, which is a big surprise. Of course, the cartography is always excellent, but this seems to be a lot of new information or edited, codified information on both the Kingdom of Caldor and the city of Tashal. And this is a kingdom in Eastern Harn. It's your typical feudal kingdom, 500 years old, a lot of internal strife. It's going to be undergoing a succession crisis. The cool thing about Harn World is that all the lore stops at 720 in their time frame, Tuzin Reckoning, and after that it's your game. So there's always been this really fun sort of fan-made succession crisis outline module, because the king is in poor health and is never married, and there's going to be some bastard sons vying for the throne. So also a lot of marches and tribal and warfare with some of the human tribes around the area. So it's pretty interesting. If you like that kind of realism in your game, I gotta think about how to sell this to some of my players or some of you all who are listening, because it's pretty neat. Caldor, unlike what we played in Western Harn, which seems sort of dark and evil, Caldor is supposed to be a shining beacon-ish of chivalry. There's more churches that follow gods that are nominally good versus gods that are pretty cruel and evil. So Lorani and Peony as opposed to Agric and Nave and Morgoth. So it's pretty cool. The capital is an important economic hub. Caravans converge there. So you have the Fur Road, the Silver Way. It can connect, the Genin Trail and the Salt Route, and it connects to abuts on Azadmir, which is the Dwarven kingdom. So I'm pretty excited about this project and the series I have. So the previous way they published this was in a binder with loose leaf pages, which was not ideal. This a perfect bound, actually it's stitch bound book actually, with very glossy pages. It's a very incredible production value. Glossy pages, that nice acid resistant paper that if you drop water on it, it's not going to melt. It's really nice. What I like also about Harn World is that there is there's some pre-done adventures, but a lot of it is these are adventure hooks and go for it, right? Here's all they have the economic data if you're important on how the king taxes things. Whenever they have all the really big into heraldry, the art on the heraldry, they have all the great clans of Caldor. Things that things that really I think help a GM. How all the towns and duchies, etc., are laid out. The in the kingdom, who is how the sub infeudation works in the kingdom, and then there's pages, like a page for every single sub infeudation with all the manors underneath it and what clan controls them. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of information, but it's information that, okay, this is it, and you expand upon it, and you're not gonna break any canon, because anything from here on out is all you, and that's one of the beauties of Harnworld. So maybe Kingdom of Caldor, adventures along the Silver Way might be coming to a GMologist presents near you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today is August 25th, 2021, and day 25 of RPG A Day 2021. Today is going to be kind of short. We'll see how long this ramble goes, but the prompt word for today is welcome. And I just wanted to emphasize something that has helped me in various stages of my life, and it has to do with feeling welcome somewhere. I'm definitely that type of person, much like Terry Crews's character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Sergeant Jeffries, where I want to be liked by everyone. So feeling welcome is important to me. And when I was growing up, back in the 80s, in middle school, and a little bit in high school, the high school, it eased out, right? The bullying was big, especially bullying against people who were smarter than you, who maybe weren't in your clique, who were different ethnicity than you. But there were two groups that made everyone feel welcome where I was at. One group was the heavy metal crowd. If you liked the metal, if you liked the music, it didn't matter who you were, where you're from, what other clique you might pretend to be a part of. We all knew you were metal through and through, right? So always hung out, behind the band hall, listened to our metal music in between breaks, especially, before class and during the lunch. But it was cool, and that kind of continued. Although our middle school was odd, like our middle school, not everyone in my middle school went into the same high school, but in high school, those of us who were still, part of the metal group hung out together too. Again, well, I think it's between the shop and mechanics bay and the band hall. Maybe not. I don't remember the layout quite, but in a different part, out near the baseball fields. Anyway, so it was pretty cool, that group. The other group that made me feel welcome, and this is how it relates to RPGs, is the people who played D&D and other of those games that came out in the late 70s and early 80s. I think a big one for us was Star Frontiers, for example. But the D&D crowd, the gaming crowd, that was also a welcoming and accepting crowd. And it really helped, right? It helps through those awkward, tough times in middle school and in high school. And I made some great friends that were there. We had a long-standing Asian Adventures campaign. I had a long-standing AD&D campaign in the Forgotten Realms that extended from high school into college, really, and we still kept playing. Some people were more open to their significance than others about playing, because you don't want to be considered that nerdy, geeky guy. Only now has this idea of being a nerd or a geek become popular or mainstream. So back then, hid in your mom's basement and played your games, right? And didn't tell anyone, which was odd, but at least everyone there was inclusive and wanting to just share the experience of the game, and it didn't matter your economic background, your racial makeup. We just hung out and played D&D, right? So there is something good about elf games. They bring people together, and I felt like throughout everything, most gaming groups and crowds were welcoming. And you might say, well, it's because they have no friends, and they all have social issues, so of course they're going to gravitate together. But that's not necessarily the case. That doesn't make, because you're awkward, I don't know, socially awkward, does that mean that you're welcoming? Not necessarily. I know that when I went to college, and I went to this big hoop-de-doo college up in the northeast in the New England area, but it was the same thing. There are people from different backgrounds, social economic backgrounds, and ethnicities, but the one group where that didn't seem to be a criteria, where you were from, how much money your parents had, what your race was the gaming crowd. So even in college, thinking back, it was always a place where you were welcome. And in college, the people from East Coast, West Coast, Hispanic, African American, Latinx, African American, um, whatever, you know, white. We just played games, and I learned about Traveler there. I learned about a whole host of different games. Still played D&D, was a big one, and there were definitely late nights playing D&D, even though, I guess I was a science geek guy and a sort of jock guy since I played rugby in college. But we still had our games, and that was pretty cool. So you make friends, and that way, and I've made friends that way throughout my life within the gaming crowd. And I want to say that getting back into this these old timey games, this old school games, I really felt that the Audio Dungeon Discord especially was very welcoming. Tried to promote their games, of course, but helped me to promote my games and my interest as well. And I think that is a pretty cool. And I also, I guess, have felt that the whole community from the Audio Dungeon Discord and out has been very welcoming, and everyone, our common interest is gaming, and differences of opinions aside, everyone seems to be welcome at the table. So I really enjoy that, and I will end then with this very short episode by saying I thank all of you who have played in my games, who have made my wife feel welcome, because she has stated many times, as a woman, it's hard to join a group that makes you feel welcome and comfortable and equal, and doesn't explain everything to you because you're a woman and you don't know what's going on, but lets you be you. So I thank you all for that, and just remember to welcome people at your table, not prejudge, and have great games, because our community is a community that welcomes people.